Welcome guys to the Herald of Perfection deck profile. Here we take a look at the Heralds with the artifacts and the Star Seraphs. So it's not the best build in the world, but I think I like it because it's very luck based and you can really sack your opponent if you get really lucky, or you can really brick and get killed. Alright, so we have the Ritual Engine, the Herald of Perfection. You can ritual summon this card with Dawn of the Herald during either player's turn. When your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, you can send one fairy type monster from your hand to the graveyard, then negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So this card basically says no to your opponent, to every effect your opponent does, and it's a level 6 ritual, so we'll be running 2 level 3s normal type monsters for the advanced ritual art, because we're not going to summon it with Dawn the Herald, because that would be going pretty minus. Mind you, to add the ritual spell or the ritual monster to our hand. Advanced ritual art to ritual summon the Herald of Perfection using normal monsters from our deck. So we have the normal monsters here. We have 4 of them. I just chose like 4 different fairies because why not? We're not gonna really like summon them to beat down your opponent or anything, so I just chose 4 different ones. So there are 2 reasons why we chose level 3 normal type light fairy monsters. The first reason being is that it can be transmodified into a Star Seraph Scepter, which is level 4 light fairy monster, and the rest are level 3 light fairy monsters. And Transmodify has the effect where you can send one face-up monster you control to the graveyard to special summon from your deck one monster with the same type and attribute as that monster in the graveyard, but 1 level higher. You can only activate 1 of these per turn, so it can basically transform to a Star Seraph Scepter, which is pretty nice. And the second reason why we're running level 3 light fairy normal monsters is because if we send 2 of them to the graveyard for the ritual summon of 1 Herald of Perfection, we can use Dark Factory or Mass Production here to bring back 2 targets to a hand so that we can have 2 negates. Star Seraph Stick. When this card's normal summoned or special summoned, you get to add 1 Star Seraph monster from your deck to your hand, except for itself. An Exceed monster that was summoned with this card as Exceed material with 3 or more materials, including this card, gains the following effect. When it is Exceed summoned, target 1 other card on the field, destroy, and if you do, draw 1 card. So this card basically gives you like a lot of pluses. Star Seraph Chair cannot be used as Exceed material for an Exceed summon except for the Exceed summon that uses 3 or more monsters as Exceed material. If you normal or special summon a Star Seraph monsters except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, draw 1 card. Then you can special summon it if it was a Star Seraph monster that you just drew. So the basic combo for the Star Seraphs is that you have this chair in your hand, a chair in your deck as well, and you have the stick either in your graveyard or your hand. You just gotta normal or special summon the scepter. So you summon the stick to summon the sovereignty, to search out another chair, and then you just special summon the other chair that you just searched out, and then you draw 2 Exceed for a rank 3 Exceed monster that requires 3 or more Exceed material. Pop a card, that's draw another card, so that's like pop a card plus 3 more cards, so lots of pluses with the Star Seraphs. So Transmodify still has another target, and that would be the level 4 monsters, such as the Manju, the Star Seraphs, all of the Star Seraphs, and that monster can be made into a Theus, Goddess of Light. That is a level 5 light fairy monster, so you can transmodify those monsters into this card. So this card is basically the RNG god of this deck, basically. If you get really lucky with this card, you can pretty much like draw like a bunch of fairy monsters and then go ham. When this card's face up on the field, when you draw a fairy type monster, you can reveal 1 of those monsters to draw 1 more card. So basically, if you keep drawing fairies, you keep drawing, and you have infinite negates with the Herald Perfection, in theory. But since we are running a lot of spells and traps in this deck, it won't be infinite, but you'll get a lot of pluses with the Goddess of Light. You know, our deck is pretty much level up fairies. We have like the level 3 fairy normal monster, the level 4 Star Seraphs and Manju, then the level 5 artifacts plus Theus, then we have the level 6 ritual monster, Herald of Perfection. Pretty level up kind of thing. But anyways, let's talk about artifacts. Artifacts, you can set them in their spell trap zone as a spell card. And if they're destroyed during your opponent's turn, you get to special summon them from the graveyard. So that's all artifact effects. So they all have an effect when they're special summoned during your opponent's turn. Artifact Merle Tech. When this card is special summoned during your opponent's turn, destroy 1 face-up card your opponent controls. This effect does not target. Artifact Scythe. When this card is special summoned during your opponent's turn, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. Artifact Librarian. Whenever an artifact monster is special summoned during your opponent's turn, draw 1 card. Artifact Baeltech. When this card is special summoned during your opponent's turn, target 2 set cards you control, destroy them, minimum 1. Artifact Ignition. Target 1 spell trap card on the field, destroy that target, and if you do, set 1 artifact monster directly from your deck to the spell and trap zone as a spell card. You must have an artifact monster in your main deck to activate this card. If this card in your owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, your opponent skips their next battle phase. Artifact Sanctum. Special summon 1 artifact monster from your deck. You can only activate 1 artifact sanctum per turn. You cannot conduct your battle phase during the turn you activate this card, so you normally want to activate this card during your opponent's turn. If this card is in your owner's possession, is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, target 1 card on the field, destroy that card. We got Call the Haunted to revive the Goddess of Light so that during the end phase of your opponent's turn, we activate it, and then during our draw phase, then we can draw a bunch of fairy type monsters. Because normally Theus is either discarded to the graveyard by Herald of Perfection's effect, or she's destroyed because she is pretty sacky. But getting her back is really important. Also, Call the Haunted works with the Star Seraphs because the Star Seraph stick searches out the Star Seraph chair, yada yada. Plus the artifacts all work on your opponent's turn, so you Call the Haunted during your opponent's turn, then you get a bunch of artifact effects. Pretty nice stuff. We got Dark Factor Mass Production to bring back the normal monsters back from our graveyard back to our hand, so that the Herald of Perfection has more negates. And we have Regeki to sack your opponent. For the extra deck, we have the Artifact Drendel. So this card is really important for the deck because you usually do have a lot of dead hands, and sometimes you want to shuffle it all back in and then get a new hand, and this card can do that for us. So this card requires 2 level 5 monsters. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can activate one of these effects. When a monster effect is activated on the field, or when a normal spell or trap card is activated, you can detach 1 Exceed material from this card. Then the activated card becomes destroy 1 spell or trap card your opponent can. So that's one of the effects of Drendel. It's pretty anti. It helps out the Herald of Perfection, I guess, a bit. But the second effect is where we really want to activate this effect. You can detach 1 Exceed material from this card. Each player with a hand shuffled their entire hand into the deck. Then each player draws the same number of cards they shuffled into deck. So that's really good because the Goddess of Light requires you to draw a fairy type monster from your deck to your hand. So that means that Artifact Drendel, you shuffle your entire hand and then you just draw a new hand. And if even one of those cards are a fairy type monster, you get to draw more cards with the Goddess of Light, so that's pretty good. Constellar Pleiades to bounce annoying cards your opponent controls back to the hand during either player's turn. Number 61 Volcasaurus to destroy one of your opponent's monsters and then inflict damage to them. You cannot attack your opponent directly during this turn you activate this effect, but kind of like a Ring of Destruction effect, pretty powerful effect. Evil Swarm Ouroboros, because we're running the Star Seraph, so we have a rank 4 with 3 level 4 monsters required, and this card's overall pretty good. We got Teller Knight P here. So this card is banned currently in the OCG. I'm guessing it's not banned yet in the TCG because we don't have Cyberdragon Infinity yet, but it's quite annoying to deal with. But this card is actually pretty good. So it requires 2 or more level 4 monsters, but we usually summon it with 3 materials because its effects requires 3 materials. So the relevant effect of this card is you can detach 3 Exceed materials from this card, special summon 1 monster from your extra deck whose rank is 1 rank higher than this card. So basically a rank 5 monsters, except a number monster. So basically not like a number monster like Utopia or something stupid. But this card can go into like Cyberdragon Nova, into Cyberdragon Infinity, which will also be running. But yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but it's quite powerful. We can also go into the Volcasaurus, the Constellar Pleiades, the Artifact Drendel. I usually go for the Artifact Drendel, but yeah, it's pretty OP because it can just go into Infinity. Gaia Dragon to have the piercing damage in there, plus you can just Exceed summon it using a rank 5 or rank 6 monster you control 16 material, so it's easy to get out. 101 to take your opponent's monster. Castell to spin back a opponent's card. Fairy Cheer Girl to actually draw a card. Requires 2 fairy type monsters, so it's not that easy to summon in this deck, I guess. But it does work since the Theus Goddess of Light. Drawing 1 card could make a huge difference. We got Abyss Dweller. So this card allows you to stop your opponent's card effects in the graveyard for that turn. And we got number 80 to banish your opponent's card, plus we get to boost one of our Exceed monsters by a couple of attack points, so that's pretty good. So this is how this deck looks like. I don't usually play it because Herald is like negate everything your opponent does, they have no fun. And if your opponent does get around it, then you can't really do anything about it because that is your main goal, right? So I tried to make this deck about drawing a bunch of cards and just negating everything your opponent does. With the Goddess Light, drawing out power, plus the Star Seraphs have draw power, the artifacts to protect you during your opponent's turn, stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys later.